The math test is 60 questions in 60 minutes. There are 33 algebra, including 14 pre-algebra, 10 algebra 1, and 9 algebra 2 questions. There's about 23 geometry questions, which make up 38% of the test, and 4 trigonometry questions, which are about 7% of the test. The pre-algebra questions, you need to watch out for simple computational errors. Make sure you know how to use negative numbers, and make sure you know about multiples. Least common multiple would be good to know about. So review your pre-algebra before you go take the test. Elementary algebra, you need to watch out for simplifying errors. You never need to use this quadratic equation when factoring will do, although you should know the quadratic formula in case you do need to pull it out and use it. Flipping the inequality when divided by a negative number, make sure you know how to do that. The intermediate algebra on the test, watch out for recognizing systems of equations in word problems. So you're going to need to be able to take a word problem and put it into equations. Sequences, make sure you know the formulas for sequences, whether they're geometric or arithmetic. Make it a lot easier, it'll save you a lot of time. So testing intervals with absolute value inequalities, make sure you know how to do that. And make sure you know about polynomials and least common denominators. And make sure you factor your problems first before you do anything. The coordinate geometry portion of the test, make sure that you know the slope-intercept form and you use this whenever possible. It would really be helpful. Do not be afraid to draw on the test. You can draw as much as you want, and in the math it would be very important to do that. And make sure you know the rules of transformations. Know what happens to a graph when a constant is added or subtracted or multiplied. The plane geometry of the test, make sure that you watch out for polygons within polygons. Make sure you know about 45, 45, 90 triangles and about 30, 60, 90 triangles. The Pythagorean theorem is something you should have in your pocket. Use it. Very important on the test. Break large shapes into smaller shapes. Look out for shaded regions in figures. And one thing to know about the test is that the figures are not to scale. So don't look at the figures and think that the scale is exactly as they're drawn. The trigonometry, if you know SOHCAHTOA, that would really be helpful on this test. And the S in SOHCAHTOA stands for sine, which is the opposite side over the hypotenuse. The C in CA is cosine, and that's the adjacent side of the angle divided by the hypotenuse. And then the tangent T is the opposite over the adjacent. If you know a few trig identities, if you've taken trigonometry, that would really help you on this test also. General strategies for the math test, use the calculator you always use. The calculations should not get too long or complicated, so if you're having a hard time with the problem, spending a lot of time, you need to skip it and come back to it at the end. Draw all over your paper, answer every single question. Use smart elimination tools, so if you can eliminate a couple answers, it would help you to guess. Take a steady pace, 1 minute per problem. And again, check your answers if you have time. Only change answers that you know are wrong. Good luck. Lastly, on the math test, do the problems you know first. So if you've taken Algebra 1, you can do all the pre-algebra problems and the basic algebra problems. You might want to leave the hard problems for last. Do the problems with the fewest steps first. If you've got problems with word problems, save those till last. Do the problems with more steps or that are more difficult next. And then try plugging in the middle answer in an equation if you have difficulty. Eliminate answers again before you guess. If you do these things, you should do the best you possibly can on the math test.